Okay, so we'll start off in mock test mode.
Yep.
We'll do a reverse.
Just a straight line reverse.
No, what we'll do is we'll set it up just as it would be on the day. Now, 50% of the time you'll get a reverse left, 50% of the time you'll get a reverse right. So we'll set it up to say that I would like you to assume that I'm a pupil at the partly trained stage, and my last instructor was due to teach me reverse to the left today. He's unable to make it. He's got a dental appointment. I'm familiar with the layout and controls of this car because this is the same as the one I normally have my lessons in. My name's Bob. Feel free to call me that. We'll drive to a location, and then I'd like you to brief me when we arrive at that location and correct any faults that you might see on the way.
That's fine.
Whenever you're ready, take a couple of minutes to collect your thoughts, and whenever you're ready, we'll begin.
Okay then, Bob. Well, it's very nice to meet you.
How do you do? Hi, Sam.
So, as far as I'm aware, you're happy with everything with the car. You're comfortable with controls and everything.
Yeah, it's the same as
familiar
what I have
with
my
it.
lessons in, yeah.
That's fine. So what we'll do, we're going to tackle a reverse around the left-hand corner.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll drive to the location, all right, and then when we get there, I'll brief you on it, and we'll have a go at it.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah,
happy
fair
with
enough.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to prepare the car?
I would say the road to the left out of the car park.
Okay. Okay. Okay then, Bob. So, as far as that drive over, how did you feel that went?
It was alright.
Yeah. So the only thing I just want to highlight, just because it's come up, is clutch control. Okay.
Right.
And remembering to be in the right gear as well, because the lights, if you remember, you were in second.
Oh yeah, you told me.
So obviously you want to be thinking about moving off. If you've stopped, you're going to need first gear to move off again, unless it's quite a steep downhill gradient.
Oh right.
Okay, do you know why that would be an issue if you weren't in the correct gear? And
we might stall, I suppose.
that's right. So what could that mean for other road users?
I'll be getting in their way, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, not just that. If they're not expecting you to stall, obviously they could run into the back of you as well. So there's lots and lots of different reasons why it's important, but you know, as long as you understand basic principles to why.
I thought because it was downhill a little bit that I might have got away with second, but was it
You
not?
quite possibly might have done,
Right.
but I felt that at that particular point I didn't feel the gradient would have been
Fair
steep enough.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But obviously, you know, as I said, it depends where you are at the time.
Right.
All right. So this is the corner that I'm going to ask you to reverse around.
Okay.
All right. So have you done any reversing at all so far?
I've reversed in a straight line.
Right.
I
Okay.
did that last week.
And how did you find that went?
It was alright.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do, if you want to have a quick look at my sheet here. So we are here. This is us. This car. So we're obviously looking at the junction that we're going to reverse around. So I'm going to ask you to pull across the road. Okay. Well, sorry, further along the road, and park up on the left just after the junction.
Okay.
All right. And then what we're going to do, we're going to follow the curb, all right, backwards until our rear seats line up with the new curb in the new road.
Alright, okay.
Okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to follow that curve around. As we get to the point of looking for the rear seats to line up, we need to stop and check round for anybody that may well be coming along the road. Okay? Why is it important to do observations?
Well, so you can see if there's anybody about.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Okay, so obviously, as we get to that point, then the front of the car will swing out into the road as well.
Okay.
So if anybody is coming along, we may well end up in their way,
Right.
cause a collision, something like that. So we need to be aware at all times. Okay. So once we've got to that point, we start the turn. All right. And as we come around the bend, we wait for the curb to line up straight again in our rear window. Do you know your reference points for the
I did that last week. It was like this end of the wiper blade.
Okay, so try and pick a fixed point, just because the wiper blade, if it's on, it's moving.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I meant like at the bottom of it.
Oh right, okay, the base of it.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine. So as I say, once that lines up again, you want to reverse backwards again, about 2 or 3 car lengths. Okay, and I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay.
Okay. So what we want to try and achieve is to stay as close to the curb as we comfortably can, obviously without hitting it, but we need to allow enough room to move about freely, but remain on our side of the road.
Okay.
Okay? So have you got any questions about that?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. So what I'd like you to do then, when you feel ready, we'll prepare the car and we'll move across and we'll get ourselves ready. Now I did notice, just as we were moving along then, that you were looking in that mirror as we were driving along.
Right.
You want to be looking in the direction that you're travelling.
Alright, okay.
Okay? Obviously you need to check your mirrors, but it's important that you are looking in the direction that you're travelling when you're moving.
Okay, right.
Alright?
Fair enough.
Do you know why?
Well, I suppose so you can see where you're going.
Well, not just that. Obviously, if you're not looking where you're going, what might happen then?
Well, I suppose maybe, I don't know, somebody could run out, maybe. A lot of kids around.
There's a lot of kids around, yeah. That's a good example. There's also the cars.
Right.
If a car comes around that car and you're looking in that mirror,
right.
you're not going to see him and you're going to end up driving straight into him.
So I need to be looking ahead.
Looking ahead when you're driving ahead, okay?
Yeah.
And the same when you're going backwards, where will you be looking?
Well, I did it last week, I was looking through the back window.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Alright then, Bob. So if you'd like to prepare the car, okay?
I can turn around a bit for
you
this
can,
one,
that's correct, yeah.
So I did last week.
Get yourself as comfortable as you need to be, alright? And we're going to travel at a slow walking pace.
Right.
Okay, so it's like 1 to 2 miles an hour.
Okay.
Alright? carried on moving, what would have happened with that car there, do you think?
Alright, yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, okay. So where do you need to start looking?
Well, through the back window.
All the way around the car
Right,
first,
right,
and then looking through the back window as it sets
Right,
off.
right.
Okay. Nice and slowly. And then we're looking for when the rear seats line up, and then we're going to stop there. Okay.
Right there.
Right there. Okay. So I want you to have another check all the way around the car now. Make sure it's clear and safe before we proceed. All right.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start turning the wheel and following that curve around. Okay. Check round because we've moved quite a way, a few seconds have passed. Okay, so how far are you off lining up that reference point in the rear window?
Nearly there.
Nearly there, okay. So obviously we're not going to go too far back because of that van.
All
You just
right.
need to be mindful of that van as well.
Okay.
You've got room to carry on to do what you need to do. Alright?
Okay.
So just do another check because you've been sat here a few seconds. So, I'm looking where you're going. So because you weren't looking through the back window, that's why we've ended up hitting the curb, because your reference point's gone from there and it's moved across. Okay? So what we'll have to do, we'll have to pull forward a little way.
Alright.
Make sure you check when you move. Okay, stop there. Alright, and then get yourself prepared again into reverse. Make sure this time that you're looking through that back window and looking for when that reference point lines up. Can you see the curb from where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah? So if you look through that back window, can you see the curb at all?
Yeah.
You're not looking through the back window though?
Right, yeah.
Not through your mirror, you need to actually look through the back window. Okay? Make sure you check. So line that reference point up. Right, stop. Just because there's a van pulling in there. Okay, so things can happen very quickly, alright, so you just need to be aware of what's going on. Alright, so now that you know he's gone, there are. So, are you happy with your position at the moment?
Not really, no.
Okay, so
we're nearly on the curve again, aren't we?
We are, yeah. So what do you think we need to do?
Not sure.
Okay, so we'll just pull forward slightly again when it's safe. Make sure you check that blind spot. So get that wheel straight now, and then stop there, stop. Okay? So now keeping your wheel straight, okay, when you're looking through the back window, lining that reference point up, and we'll reverse backwards, and hopefully we should be in the right position now. Looking behind you as you go, looking behind. Nice and slowly. Right, okay, stop there. Right, so can you see what's happened now because you've turned your steering slightly? Okay.
Well, I just held it still.
Well, what's happened is the steering has moved slightly round. Okay, so as you've come backwards there, where you had your steering wheel quite straight.
Right.
Yeah, so what would be straight with your wheel? How can you show me what you determine is straight? Like that. So if your wheel looks like that, you're going to go backwards straight as long as you've taken all your lock off.
It looked like that.
It did look like that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
So we'll just pull forward slightly again.
Right.
Make sure you check. Right, stop. Okay. Right, get that wheel straight now. You happy that that's straight?
Yeah.
Okay, pop it into reverse then. Okay. And looking in the direction that you need to go, but you need to do a blind spot check and everything before we set off. Keep that wheel straight now. Looking behind. Looking through that back window. Right, stop. Right, so how happy are you with that position now?
Not very good, is it? Are we like with a bit of an angle, aren't we?
So does that give you any idea?
A bit too far over, aren't we?
To be honest, you're not too bad because we're not actually
okay.
staying here.
All
okay,
right.
you're within the realms of
Alright, okay.
you know, the right place, but as you said, you are slightly wonky.
Right.
Okay, so do we have another go at getting you straight?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah?
At a roll.
Yeah, go on.
So, tell me what's happening here.
What's happening? happening? I don't know. I do know, but I don't know. It's
Tell me
just,
what's going through your mind at this moment in time. Holly.
just purely and simply, I straightened you up because, in fairness, I realised that I hadn't actually done that, and then we've lost it. So I don't, in my mind, I don't think that you're happy with your reference point, but also because of the van, your reference point disappears
Why am I not able to line my reference point up?
because the van's parked over the curb.
No.
No?
Where am I looking?
Most of the time, you've been looking, well, when I've said to you look through the back window, you're looking through the back window, but then
Well,
you're
yeah.
flicking across to the side window then.
Anywhere else I'm looking?
Mirror as well. Yeah.
So, I keep doing that.
Yeah.
Why do I keep doing that?
Because I haven't done the car comps.
Correct.
Yeah. I know, this is what I do.
So,
I know it's there and why, but I just don't know.
one of the reasons I wanted to investigate, because the feelings that you're feeling right at this minute,
Yeah.
are the feelings
That's
that
the
people feel when they're on
frustration,
test.
yeah.
You're thinking, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Now, what's happened is, you've picked up the persevere instruction, and it's not helped.
Yeah.
So, what would help you at this moment in time? If there's one thing you could have right now, what would it be? Apart from a lie down and a cup of tea.
A breath.
Interesting. Tell me about that. How would you manage to get a breath?
Just to sit and just say, right, just a second whilst I get myself together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, you just sit still, be quiet, don't do anything.
Yeah.
Give me a second. And then think, what do I need to do here? And if you just got that moment to think, you can work out, comps, damn it.
Yeah.
So let's go right back to the beginning from that. We pulled away from here, and you pulled me about looking at me right door mirror.
Yeah.
Why was I doing that in row?
Because you were highlighting mirrors as
What am I
fault.
highlighting?
That you're not looking in the direction that you're supposed to be looking when you're
Not
moving.
quite. Where did I not look that I needed to look?
Blind spot. No.
How about into the road I'm about to reverse it in?
Yeah, that's very true. You didn't. Yes.
So I'm
Okay.
really telegraphing that I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I then said to you when you pulled me about it, so I need to look ahead.
Mhm.
Yes, we do need to look ahead, but you also need to look into the road you're going to reverse
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm giving you the clue within row.
Yeah.
Tell me about the drive here. You pulled me about it. Clutch control.
Clutch
you
control.
said.
Yeah.
How's my clutch control during the manoeuvre?
It could be better. It's
Couldn't
not.
it?
It's not. It's not been catastrophic, which
What's
is
the
I think
one thing that's robbing you of time?
the speed at which you're doing it, and you're having to obviously restart again.
So I've telegraphed to you on the drive here, this is what's going to be wrong. If you don't get the speed under control, you just run out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I'm then throwing extra stuff in, like looking in the mirror, and you're trying to fix that while I'm moving back faster than I should be.
Yeah.
So, if you were to replay that, what could you do different?
For a start, get you to look into the road as we pull away, making sure that you're actually looking where you need to be, forwards and obviously into the new road. Pull up at the side of the road. Stress why it's important to keep the speed at the right speed.
You
So I
did
did
do
mention
that.
speed. Did I do?
You
Did I
But
actually?
did I change what I was doing?
No,
Why did I not change what I was doing?
because I didn't explain why.
Because I just feel slow to me.
Yeah.
So I've got no concept of what you're on about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to. I think what tends to happen is we tend to try and do it at a pace that a learner driver would do that.
Yeah.
And a learner driver will be soaking up information all the time. My behaviour is going to change only as a result of what you do.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you don't do something to change my behaviour will stay exactly as it was before. So if you're not running through your core comps,
Yeah.
now I think the biggest thing we need to buy ourselves on Part 3 exam is time. So, right, hang on a second, let me work out, stop, let me work out what's happening. You're trying to do it all on the move. Stop, stop, stop. If you have to stop every 3 inches, it really doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
Get on top of the job. Remembering that I'm not like a normal human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm behaving in a particular way with a particular set of ideas, a
Yeah.
particular skill set, and some of that is flawed and it needs fixing. So you've got to work on fixing the flaws and the problems that there are. And if you have to do that in a very, very stilted way, stopping every 9 inches or whatever it happens to be, then that's okay. With a learner driver, they'd get frustrated with that and not be able to cope. They'd be like, let's start looking for lessons elsewhere because you were frustrated. Look, this guy's not going to get frustrated about it. He's going to do what he needs to do. It's an interesting manoeuvre. We've got him on camera. No, we haven't got him on camera. We should be on a forward-facing camera there. let his employer know how he's driving that van.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's really about getting in and getting it fixed. You know that frustration you feel, and it's awful. It's a horrendous feeling. My first attempt at Part 3 was 28 years ago, and I can still remember it. And I hate doing it to people because I remember how it felt for me. But there's that feeling of not hopelessness, but it's just like, oh my word. So
Yeah, and you're backtracking and trying to think all the time, why is this not working? And like you say, all it's that. 'Cause I felt like I was doing quite well with my car comps to some degree.
You weren't doing bad.
But then it was just this last stretch, it fell apart, you see, because I didn't, even though I did alright there, I didn't stick to it coming backwards.
If you break in at each step and go along that line with the core comps, it'll eliminate these problems. And the biggest one is clutch control. Now, because I've telegraphed already on the drive here that my clutch control might be a problem, what could you do about that?
I could have actually just said to you, right, okay, we're going to practice clutch control before we start anything else.
And if you'd gone along that line on your core comps, what would that bring you?
Well, it should eradicate it in theory.
It will.
Yeah.
It actually will.
Yeah.
Then where are you at?
At a point where I can control everything better.
Much easier to deal with all that stuff you're trying to deal with if you're doing that at a very slow pace. So you can just chip away at them one by one. Control on a manoeuvre. Control is always the thing that's going to cause you the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because you just run out of time to say what you want to say. So either here or at this side, just show me how slow you're going to make the car go. Show me how slow you did it last week on your straight line reverse. Well, of course, if you're in a straight line, you're reversing back in a straight line, a little bit extra speed isn't going to be so much of a problem.
That's it.
But if you're trying to get full lock on,
It's getting that corner.
How's me steering?
Well, it does need work, but having said, because you did telegraph that coming over it quite...
Shuffly.
Yeah, that's the word, shuffler. Now, at the same time, if that was phase 2, I would have, I think, jumped on that. But because it's partly trained, and I'm thinking, well, there's going to be elements of the steering that, as long as it's safe and it's, you know, you're comfortable with it, then I didn't feel it was necessarily something that needed flagging. Is it something that I want to be?
Has it caused you a problem?
It has now. It hadn't done on the drive, that's what I mean.
This is
So,
the thing,
yeah.
it only becomes a problem
Yeah.
when we're trying to
When you're trying
get
to
a
do
lot of
something.
steering on and off in a really short space.
Yeah,
Coming around a junction, I've managed it okay.
yeah,
But I am letting you know that this is going to be a problem for you.
yeah,
So you might build it in the brief, you might debrief on the drive over here and say, I'm not, your steering's very shuffly. You're getting around the junctions okay. But here, you've got to get a lot of steering on in a very short space of time. I think that steering action is going to be effective. Oh, not really sure. Well, and then you're into your core comps on it. And you're eliminating that one. And it's, you know, you can even get them to do a dry run. Put your hands at the top of the bottle.
yeah.
So it's there's ways of eliminating all those problems, and then of course you lead a charmed life because everything's just going to work for you. But I mean, I know I keep banging on about it, but the core comps, each of these little things, and you're aware of them. It's not like you've missed it.
No.
So you know you're able to spot what the problem is. What we're not doing is allowing ourselves time or buying ourselves time to fix it. And the way to do that is to just get in, stop the
And
car
eliminate
moving.
it immediately rather than let
Absolutely.
it drag on.
Don't keep working on it. That several times I've stared in the mirror. Stop.
Yeah.
Why are you looking in the mirror? I can see up the road. Does that give you the right image? Well, yeah, I can see what's out because you're saying, can you see a blind? Yeah, I can see it there. Well, I'm even pointing at the mirror telling you I'm not doing it. Oh, yeah, I can see it there. Hang on a second. Okay, so you can see it there, but that's a limited view. So look at what you can see there. Now look through the back window. Oh, yeah. Now can you see into the gardens where the kids might come running from? Oh, I can, yeah. And then, of course, once you did get me to look back, I'm looking through that window, not that one.
Yeah.
And when you asked me about it, I pointed at that window.
Yeah.
So I'm letting you know.
That's it.
Through the back window.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not the back
Through the
window.
back
That
window.
one.
And again, so you're eliminating these things one by one. And they're only little things, one at a time. When you get them all together like that, you can very quickly feel hopeless.
Yeah.
You just think, oh my God.
Well, I was just
Make it
trying to
stop.
think about me, because I'm thinking, well, I've given you my reference point. I've given you, you know, everything, but it's just down to speed, and that's why it's coming apart.
Well, the reference point's not working because I'm not looking at the right place.
Yeah.
I know about the reference point. I've told you about it.
Yeah.
If I was looking in the right place, I'd fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you asked me, how's the reference point? Oh, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming round.
Yeah.
Back to the side window again.
Yeah.
So really keep an eye on me. I would also perhaps think about stopping an awful lot more before you turn third of the way around, 2/3 of the way around, all the way around. Stop, observe,
Right. Okay.
and make me do it. I would use a higher level of talk to on this first go.
Right. Okay.
Control it from that seat. Make sure I do what you want me to do,
Yeah.
and nothing more. So in light of that, so if we have a look, we can mark down here what the faults were and see where we are with them. And the reason that I want to work through this is because then it'll then help you to look at the bottom here when we have a little chat about it, about what we did, what we might do, and then your reflection on the back of the sheet following the session today will help you to put together some exercises that'll get you what you need to cope on the day of the test. It's all about the head game now. It's all about getting mentally in the right place. So if you have a little look at that list there, that's quite a lot of stuff to tackle all in one go.
That's
isn't
it. Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll never do
And
it.
I think in my own mind, I'm thinking, well, I've covered, you know, I've spotted them.
Yeah.
Was there anything that I've missed that you've done?
No. Have you told me about it?
I've told you about it. Yeah. Apart from steering, I haven't told you about the steering.
Okay, but you'd spotted it.
Yeah.
We know that because I asked you about it and you knew.
Yeah, that's it.
So tell me what we've done with these things.
So as far as clutch control, I've said why it's important that you are comfortable with your clutch control, and if obviously if you're not comfortable with it, you need to be using your handbrake, etc. You know, on hills and what have you. I think I did say something about clutch control here as well. I might have gone on to gears there.
I think you did it when we're up here as well, so using your clutch control go slow.
Yeah.
But did I buy into that?
Not here. You did back there,
Did
I
I?
think. Because I said to you why it was, we got into the, you probably didn't buy in, you agreed on it.
You sold me on the gear on the hill.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, and I said over rolling backwards in the car park, but here you didn't. No, that's right. Because it's so easy to miss it, isn't it?
Of course it is. So tell me about the drive away from the car park. Could you have had a conversation with me that might have eliminated the problem? Because I didn't use the handbrake, did I?
No, you didn't.
So if you'd said to me, why have you not used the handbrake? Well, I didn't realise I had to. You didn't realise? No, I've never driven away from here before. So always ask the question. Driven away from here before? Yeah, it's quite a steep hill at the end.
Yeah.
How will you deal with that? I'll put my handbrake on while I'm waiting.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. And then it's done
And
then.
you're done. It's a very simple thing to you've driven from here before. Dead easy. So if you look at all the other things, have you sold me on it? Has my behaviour changed in any way, shape or form?
Not really, no, because you're still doing it. Yeah, so it's a matter of, because I have said, for everything apart from steering, because like I said, I didn't actually pull you on that. But I've gone into dangers, but not necessarily sold you on them. That's the difference.
You've told me about it, but I need to come on board.
Yeah.
What we need to have is a mindset where I think, oh yes, that is something that needs fixing. I see what you mean. And the phrases they use, all right. Oh, got you, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I understand now, yeah, I can see why that's a problem. Now you know you're on solid ground. Then we've got to fix it. Because this is an area as well where people can get a little bit bent out of shape on part 3 exam. Because if I say to you, all right, well, that is dodgy, I better pack that in. You think I'm going to cure it on my own, and I'm not.
And that's what it is. It's psychological because you're expecting that person to react as everybody else would.
Normal person would.
Yeah.
But it's just the same as thinking, what I am is a person who has developed some bad habits, who has a hole in their knowledge, or lacks understanding, or lacks skill. And that behaviour is built up over a period of time. Your job is to change that behaviour. And the thinking on the part 3 test is that you have to make it change, and then you have to transfer the responsibility of that to me. And that's how learning happens. So that's the pattern that we're following. And if you deviate from that pattern, it's not going to work. If there's one element of that missing, the whole house of cards comes down. Then it becomes massively frustrating because you're fighting the fight. I'm not doing a bad job, to be fair.
Right.
But you just get to the point where you think, oh God, what are you doing? Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's putting another fault in.
Yeah.
And then of course I frustrate even more by putting the back wheel up on the curb and
Yeah.
just say, now obviously I like this corner because the curb's low here and
Yeah.
I can do that without damaging my car.
Yeah.
And it lends itself to some of the stuff. How was my position coming around the
Terrible.
corner?
'Cause you were.
I knew
were
you
in the
weren't
middle.
happy with it.
No, I
but
wasn't. But
didn't do anything about it.
I didn't know. No.
What could you have done there?
In fairness, I think I'd have actually pulled you back
Go forward.
and gone to the beginning again.
Always
And that's the
trust
thing.
your gut.
It's like, why not? Why didn't I do that? It doesn't make sense why I haven't done it, and yet, because I know what I needed to do. If you know what I mean?
You think, sorry, I'll work my way out of this.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to.
No.
Because I'm going to throw other faults in. It's
That's
going to get
it.
in your way. So now then, stop here. Now we're up. And the times where you actually, what do you think? Oh, it's not very good. But then we've just left it at that. No, that's not very good, is it? No, it isn't. What we'll do is we'll pop forward. So when I've said that's not very good, okay, what can we do about that? He might say, could he have stayed a bit more? He might go, I'm not right sure. But you're asking the question, which then opens up the discussion that leads you into your core comps, that leads to the fix. It is really massively logical,
Yeah.
although not necessarily normal human behaviour. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So, in later, so where are we at with this stuff further along the line? So, are we agreed that we haven't got me to buy in?
That's the thing. It's the buy-in that you haven't got. So even though I've told you the dangers for the 3 things that I've pulled you on, you haven't bought into them. So I can't put a tick there yet because.
So the question has to be asked, isn't it? Is it reasonable for me to behave that way?
For the test, yes, not
Correct.
in
Correct.
not in
Not
everyday
not
life.
in the real world, no. But I'm demonstrating a lack of knowledge, a lack
Yeah.
of skill, a lack of understanding, a poor attitude. And that's not going to change just because you say so.
And it's finding that key thing. It's making you understand why it's important.
Got to have the buy-in. The fault analysis, one of you needs to do it.
Yeah.
You both have to agree. So it's better if you can get them to do it, or you can both do it together and come to a reason why it's a bad idea to do that. But you both have to agree that it's something that needs fixing.
Yeah.
Because if it's just you, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you say. So on the preventative or the remedial, how have we done there?
The mirrors I've been prompting you. I have, because it's difficult with mirrors. You can't really do necessarily a full talk through if you see, not in this situation.
Can't you?
You can, but it's more a case of right. Use your mirrors if you see whatever situation is at the time, or rather don't look in the mirror. It's supposed to be.
So if you ever think about what it is that we're doing here, full talk through,
Yeah.
you have to make it happen. Don't let the car move. Stop.
Yeah.
Look through the back window. Don't let the car move. Stop. Wait. Look through the back window. Now you're looking in the right direction. Now you can move. That window. Stop. That window. No. Stop. That window.
Yeah.
Stop. Why do you think I'm getting? And then you have the discussion about why it's a problem, and then you're making it happen again. So you can make it happen.
Yeah.
Don't allow the car to move unless what you want to happen has happened.
Yeah.
And nip it in the bud immediately and get on top of it. Now, if you exerted that level of control with a learner driver, they'd get fed up pretty quick. But that's what these people want. So you can make it happen. Prompting me is not enough.
Yeah.
You have to change the behavioural pattern. And the only way, in the head of the examiner and the in-roll here, the only way my behaviour is going to change is if you make it change.
Yeah, and it's covering all the bases.
I'm never going to go along with a suggestion or whatever. So tell me about our planning. How was that, our control and our planning?
Not what I wanted it to be.
No.
Some of it, some of it was there, obviously, but it just wasn't. It, especially after the bend, it just fell apart on this last bit completely.
I'm going to ask you a question. It might make sense, it might not. How much of it is because you're determined you want to get through to the end of it and get it done?
That's probably more what it is. It's a matter of, I've got to finish this manoeuvre, I've got to do X, Y and Z in this time.
Right.
And I'm powering through, trying to think, right, I'm getting close to the end, it's nearly the end. Do you know what I mean? I've done this, and I'm constantly thinking about what's the next step rather than thinking about what's just happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, because I'm trying to. I think there is that is the case that people think I've got to get it finished.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the reality is, if you're demonstrating your core comps to a very high level and you don't get the manoeuvre finished, it doesn't really matter, as long as you're making the changes that are required.
Right.
As long as the examiner can see that your instruction is
I think that's what it is. I'm
eliminating faults.
thinking that realistically, you're not going to pass that stage of the exam if you haven't completed the manoeuvre in that time that you were allowed. Do you know what I mean? I
The
know what you're
reality
saying.
is you probably
Yeah.
will get to do it, but you might only get one attempt. You know, it was often thought in the years going, oh, we should get 3 attempts in. Not if you're eliminating faults as you go effectively.
Yeah.
So it's really about looking and living in the moment. What do I need to do? What's the plan? So you have to have this box filled in.
Yeah.
So that without this done right, it's not going to work. Without having a plan and getting me to commit to it as well as you. So what we'll do is I'll talk you through that and exert massively tight control, like you were training a chimp to do it.
So it's not over instruction by actually sitting there and saying, right, so, and step by stepping it all the way back.
If I'm with the mirrors, it's not over instruction to say stop, look through the back
Yeah,
window,
yeah.
not the mirror. We've discussed this. Remember, it's oh yes, dangerous. Back window. Stop. Back window. Turn your head and look through the back window. That's it. Now you can move, and if necessary, hold it still on the do brake. Don't let the car move.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what it's all about, and again, if we think back to why the register was created, it's about safety. And I'm exhibiting lacking knowledge, lacking skill, a bad attitude that would, if left unchecked, eventually become dangerous. Like my observations, they're not good. That's going to be dodgy. They pulled me on it straight away with a white band coming. I mean, obviously, I knew he was there because I had a quick look there while you weren't looking. But you've done right by jumping in. But it's all about really get straight on and micromanage that fault, and then the next one that comes, and the next, and the next. So if we're looking at that and thinking about what would you do different, what is it that's not happened there? And that's what this space is for, is to maybe
It's
make
just a
some
matter of
notes.
just making sure that even though I've mentioned the dangers, that you haven't actually agreed with me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Or you haven't actually clarified that you understand why it's a dangerous situation either.
Yeah. Well, I've been giving you the standard sort of, oh yeah, right, okay,
Yeah.
which is not really a, oh, I see what you mean.
It's not a full on buy-in, is it?
I understand what you're on about.
It's a
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I could agree with that if I felt like it, but I don't.
So once you've done that bit, what follows that? What else might you change if you were rerunning that thing?
Are we talking the clutch control or just all of the faults there?
Whatever.
Right,
These are
okay.
notes for you rather than for me.
Yeah, if I was looking at it on the whole, because I know, like you said, clutch control, so I'd get you to do a dry run of clutch control
Okay.
before the manoeuvre. The mirrors, that's something that I'd probably just keep tackling on the move as well, because I have mentioned it,
Okay.
but make sure I've got the buy-in from you as to why it's important that you're using the mirrors effectively but at the right times and what have you.
Okay.
And then observations, obviously just making sure that you understand why it's important that your observations are timely and appropriate to what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Steering.
Okay.
Make sure I actually pull you on that and cover that and make sure that everything is running smoothly.
Okay. So is there a... I mean, it's particularly difficult on a manoeuvre because you're going to get a concentrated burst of faults in a very short space of time. So manoeuvres are difficult that way. However, they're less difficult because you can stop the car instantly and work out what's happening, and you can begin again without having to drive to another location, just pop back around and have another go. So is there a theme that runs through here that you could carry to other lessons, other PSTs, other things to learn that'll help you going forward?
Just make sure that I've got that buy-in. You know, make sure the buy-in's there for the dangers.
Any other observations whilst we've got you in reflective mode?
I don't know. Just make sure that I do the full torque through as well, rather than just jumping onto the prompting.
Okay. How can you do that? How can you keep yourself on track?
Follow the bloody tick sheet.
Well, if that works for you, it's the process, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the process
make
of
sure
thinking.
all elements
Yeah.
of the process are in place.
Mm.
So if I give you the option to do whatever you want now, what would you like to do?
Have another go at it and
thought you might say that.
Yeah, and see, obviously, if I can control it better from
Okay.
that point.
In terms of control, so that's what we're looking at here. There's 100% of control available.
Mm.
In the real world, what we're looking for is 50-50 with a
Yeah.
team going through. In terms of this, what we're looking for is probably 100-0.
Mm.
So in terms of that, what percentage were you in control anyway?
I'd probably go with 50.
Okay.
I
We'll
think
leave
that'd
it
be fair.
So how will you get more control?
By
Well, firstly,
stopping it, I think, before it actually starts, if you know what I mean.
sure. Do you think more control would be useful?
Oh, without a
That's
doubt.
the first
Without a
one.
doubt.
How will you gain it? So I should have asked that differently.
Yeah, just by, because as soon as you went to set off, I said stop, blind spot. I got on that way, but making sure that I carry on with that idea all the way through. Like you said, make sure it's broken down into right. No, you're not doing it right, so stop it. You know what I mean? And rather than letting you run away with yourself
Sure.
and
Sure.
ending up in the wrong position.
So when you stopped me with that, very well done, by the way, for observations before. What did you think of my clutch control at that point?
Now I look back, it probably was a little bit fast.
Bit quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, although not massively. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why I didn't jump on it, because I thought, well, it's there.
If it's not perfect,
But it's
jump
not
on
how
it.
I wanted it, yeah.
Yeah, so deal with it right there.
Rather than letting it
Right.
run away.
Since
Yeah.
we've stopped here, I want to talk to you about your clutch control as well.
Mm.
It's a bit quick. And what could you do there, do you think? Because obviously I'm not going to fix it just because you say so, because you mentioned it.
Well, dangers as to why, for
Okay.
a start, and then obviously get you to do the clutch control if I haven't already
how would you
tackled that.
do that? From the point you were at,
From the point I was at, I'd get you to drive forward again.
and then back, forward and back
Yeah,
as many times
just
as you need it.
until you've got that.
Micromanaged.
Yeah.
Absolute and utter control of what's going on. Nothing happens unless you say so. We don't have to be domineering or bossy or nasty or anything about it. It's just like, okay, this is the problem. Gotta
Yeah.
fix this. This is why it's a problem. Can you see that? Oh, right. So we best see if we can fix that, because that's going to cause us problem. All right, yeah, okay. So what we'll do, and then we're in the planning,
Yeah.
we'll do a little shunt forward and then back and forward and back, so we can practice on that. I'll talk you through the first one. Happy with that? Yeah, all right, yeah. And then you're into it. Immediately you're into your core comps. Examiner sat there thinking, slick, I like it, good. You're on top of me straight off. You're not letting things happen. And this is what happens on part 3 exam for an awful lot of people. It's not that they can't do it, it's that they don't do it.
Yeah.
And you're sat there thinking, oh yeah, it'll be alright, but it's a little bit quick. Your gut tells you instantly, this is not right, fix it. If it's not perfect, fix it. If you're backing up the wrong tree, the examiner will start telling you, saying, look, it's alright, I thought it was okay. Or he'll say, the last instructor we used to get that. Occasionally you'll come in a
Trouble
roll
is,
and
I'll
go,
still go on and go, well, I want you to do it this way. That's the trouble.
and if you're still wrong, the examiner will go, out of roll. Drop it. Back in roll. If you're already doing okay and you're just banging it, they'll let you know. So you want to have another go? Have a more. Do you want to run it from the brief, or how was the brief, by the way?
I don't know, how do you think the brief was?
I'm not answering the questions. I ask the questions. I don't answer questions. I don't know how to do that.
I didn't dislike the brief, I think, because it was just on point of what we needed to say.
And I told you, yes, there's things you could add into it. Yes, there's other ways you could describe things, but it's fine. You give me an overview. It would be markedly satisfactory.
Right, okay.
A lot of the time, you do a brief and then people say, oh, you could have told me about the look into here.
That's it, yeah.
It doesn't matter because I gave you the opportunity to
Yeah.
fix it straight away. Or you could have said, saying, oh, line the top of the back seat up, so I've brought it out a little bit wide. If you described it as follow the line of the curb around, that works okay until you come to a tight one. But there's all sorts of different things you could do. But as long as you're giving me a brief overview of what I need to do and why I need to do it, that's fine. Fix the rest on the move. Don't have a go at it without the brief because that's going to cause you all manner of problems.
Daft as it is, if their road position is wide on that corner, but you still manage to get them back in and get them where they need to be,
Mhm.
are you going to fail on that because your position was wrong?
You tested on control, observation, and accuracy. They want all three of those done. You drew my attention to it, which is great. What we could have done was then got along the line of the core comps. So
Yeah.
that's a fault that we committed. So why is that a problem?
Yeah.
If you get me to buy in there, how we're going to fix it? Well, I'm not really sure. Would it help if I talk you through it? Well, if you think so, well, let's do that. Let's just pop forward now and another go. And I would have gone forward at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, exerting that level of control. And there's a part of us doesn't want to go forwards
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, we're not getting on with
You're
the
not
maneuver.
getting to the end of it,
That's
yeah.
right. So fix whatever you've got in front of you. They love it if you do that. They absolutely and utterly love it because that's your core comps at play. So I'll buzz us around the block back to where we
Alright,
started.
that's fine.
You have a little chill and a think about how you might do it. And then we'll be off. So the idea behind on the back of the form, you'll find a reflective log, which is just really about, after the session, putting your thoughts together as to what went well, what didn't go well, what did you like, what did you not like, what did you gain from it. If you do it again next time, what would you do differently? And in light of what you've then reflected, what do I want to work on in the next session? What skills or techniques do I want to work on, and how will we go about that? And what we'll probably do is, after we've had a go at this, we'll stop and we'll have that little sort of reflection and think about what we're going to do with the second half of the thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're used to coaching, so it's a pattern you understand.
Yeah.
Look this way. Let's go.
Yeah, that is just the bit that I find so frustrating. It's like it seems so easy when you're doing it in coach mode,
Yeah.
but trying to do it in, like you said, rote mode, it just doesn't work the same for me anyway.
It's just understanding the
The
game.
principle's there, and I understand why it needs to be done, but my brain just don't want to do that.
Well, if you have a think about it, you're breaking the habits of a lifetime.
Yeah.
My job is to apply core comps to you, to demonstrate. When I'm assessed on audit, that's what they're looking at for me. Am I applying my core comps? Am I telling you where you've made the mistakes?
Yeah.
Am I helping you to work out the dangers of or the problems that might cause? And am I helping you to come together with a fix? I'm having to do that in a more client-centered way.
Yeah.
But we're still running through the core comps. We will eventually do it that way with relearn it on the standards check, which will become the part 3 test, in a more coaching way.
Yeah.
And the learner will do the core comps. But the core comps are still in play. The schools break up today.
No, it's well, for me anyway, it's the 16th.
There's so many vans around today. It's just, I don't think they're renovating these houses or anything, but there's a big cluster of them where we're just where we want to be.
No idea. I don't recognise the vans either. It's not something we get over.
It's Wakefield District Housing.
Ah, well, it will be something to do with housing then.
So back to the scene of the crime.
Follow the road left, please.
We'll assume you've done the brief,
Yeah.
and we're about to have the first attempt at it. Have a think about how you're going to do it,
Yeah.
and whenever you're ready, we shall begin.
Okay then. Alright then, Bob. So we're going to have a go at the reverse round the corner.
okay, yeah,
So
very
are you
cool.
happy with everything I said in the brief?
Yeah, no bother.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is pull forward, okay, and we're going to park up just after the junction on the left-hand side,
Okay.
okay? And then what I want you to do is I want you to reverse around that corner that's in
Okay.
front of us, okay? Have a look into this road as we go past, just to make sure that it's clear. We've got room, yeah? Got advised me. Okay, so
Looks happy these work, doesn't it?
he really does. Okay then, so what we're going to do next, alright, is we're going to prepare the car and we're going to reverse back around this corner.
Okay.
So we want to keep it nice and steady.
Right.
Alright. So what do you think nice and steady would be?
That's right. It's walking pace.
Yeah, so what's walking pace?
What's that, about 3-4 miles an hour?
About 1 to 2 miles an hour.
Alright.
That's what we want.
Oh,
Okay.
that's about how fast he's walking.
Yeah, nice and slow.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
The slower the better.
Okay.
Alright. So when you're ready, if you want to prepare the car. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is our observations. So where do they start from? Through that back window. Make sure you've actually looked through it.
Alright,
That's
yeah.
it. All the way around.
Yeah.
Okay. And then looking through the back window. This is the side window behind me, so we want the back window.
Alright,
That's it.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, we're going nice and slowly. Slower. Slower. Right, and line that rear seat up.
So I'm going to
Okay.
stop there. Are you happy with this level of slow?
No, I'm still not.
Do something
Yeah,
about
why didn't I do it? I know. It's so stupid.
it. It's hard, don't worry about it.
It's so annoying.
So you're telling me and I'm not doing it?
Yeah, you're not doing it because you don't know why. Okay.
So you've either got to run through your core comps or punch me in the face. One of those two.
I'll better
Can
do
we
it,
go core
Carl
comps?
Yeah.
I'm very pleased.
Very
about that.
tempting. So we'll pull forward again, Bob. Just make sure you've done your observations. Okay. So that was still too fast.
Was it? All right.
Okay. So I want you even
So a
slower.
bit slower.
Half that speed.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Literally, I just want you to feel like you're hardly moving.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't feel like I was moving then.
So why do you think it'd be important that we don't rush?
I didn't think I was rushing.
Well, for this particular manoeuvre, you are.
Oh, okay.
Alright, it's still too fast. It's going to mean that when you get to that corner, you can't steer fast enough.
All right.
Okay? You can't make the turn comfortably,
Right.
which means that you'll end up in the wrong position to follow the curb backwards.
All
And if you
right,
do
right.
that, what might happen if you're in the wrong position?
I might not make it round.
You might not make it round.
Right.
You might risk running into another car if there's one parked up, or there's all different
Right.
things that if you're over the centre line, for instance, as you've come round that bend
Right.
and somebody's wanting to turn in or out, you're blocking the road then.
Right. Right.
Okay. Why would that be an issue?
Well, I suppose I'm creating issues for the road users. It might be accident, maybe.
You're
Right.
creating a hazard, aren't you?
Right.
You are then the hazard.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So we don't want to be a hazard, do we?
No.
But why is it important that we're not a hazard for anybody else?
Well, keep everybody safe.
Okay. So it's not just cars, it's pedestrians as well. If you're reversing too fast, right, and somebody just happens to step out of a gateway, they're all very close together around here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You know, kiddie could run out, and if you're going faster than you need to be,
Yeah. I see
then you
what you're
can't
saying.
stop. You
Right.
might not see them. There's
Yeah, fair
all
enough.
these things.
I never thought of that.
All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we'll try again.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to keep that speed under control. All right. And like I said, remember your observations before we set off.
Error roll.
Yeah.
Tell me what the plan is. Have I bought in?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
absolutely have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's the plan?
Make sure that I do full talk through on the speed and observations and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back and roll.
Okay. All right, Bob. So make sure you start with your observations. So blind spot first, all the way around the car. That's it. Making sure there's nobody about to be a problem for us.
Okay.
Looking through the back window before we set off. That's the side window.
So,
Through the back window. Why do we need to be looking through the back window?
I'm not sure really.
Well, if you're looking through the side window,
Uh-huh.
are you travelling sideways?
Well, no.
No. Which way are you travelling?
Well, backwards.
So where's the back of the car?
No, it's through the back there.
Yeah. So do you think we need to be looking through the back window to be going backwards?
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I saw that car then.
Yeah. So if you hadn't been looking through the back window when that car came along, would you have seen him?
No, I wouldn't know.
So why would that be an issue for you?
Well, it might hit us.
You might hit him.
Right.
You know.
Right.
As we go around the bend, the front end of the car's going to swing out as well, blocking the road.
Right.
Alright?
Oh, so
So if
maybe
you're
this,
not looking and you
right.
haven't seen him, you're going to hit him.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So start with your observations again, because we've been sat a few minutes.
Alright.
That's it. All the way around the car and looking straight through that back window. That's the side window. Look through that back window. Slower. Stop. Stop. Right. Slower. Okay?
Right.
I literally just want a snail's pace. Alright?
Right.
So I want you to be nice and slow now.
Right.
Alright?
Coming out of the roll.
Yeah. How can I get you to be nice and slow? You know,
Yeah.
through that. Keep your foot on the brake and just gently release it.
So you're telling me to be slower?
But I'm not
But I'm
telling
not
you
doing
how.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So why is it travelling too fast?
Because you're just taking your foot straight off the brake and it's rolling.
That's right. And I'm bringing the clutch up probably a little bit too far.
Yeah.
The reality is, where we are, can't roll at all.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing the clutch up the same way as I would do if I was on the flat.
Yeah.
I think, oh. So, and I'm thinking, oh, if you'd question me on it, I would have gone, well, I'm doing my best. I've pushed the clutch down. It's not slowing down.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
Then you've hit on
yeah.
what the problem is.
Yeah.
So it's good. Back and roll.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to keep our foot on the brake.
All right.
Alright, so are we uphill, downhill, flat? What do you think
Oh,
of
on
this
the
road?
hill, yeah.
So which way are we on the hill?
We're going downhill.
We're
aren't we?
going downhill. So what's going to happen to the car? What does gravity do?
Oh, make it speed up.
Yeah, pulls you backwards.
Right.
in this
So can I
position.
just let it roll back on the brake?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
That's absolutely fine
So
because
they're not costing.
we physically can't get that clutch up at this point.
Ah,
If we lift the clutch up, what's going to happen?
well, the car will move faster, I suppose.
Yeah? Well, it'll move faster, but what might also happen? Because we don't want the speed, do we?
Oh, right.
We
Oh, I
want
see what
nice
you're
and
saying,
slow
right.
and controlled. So if we're using the
Right.
brake and the clutch, and we're just nice and steady, just easing that brake on and off, you know, just to
Right.
keep that speed under control. As we then get to the corner, you're probably going to need to lift that clutch to bring you around that corner if it's slightly uphill, for instance.
All right, okay. Yeah, I think I've got that.
Yeah.
I think.
Why is it important that we don't go too fast?
What you were saying before about keys running about the place and stuff.
Yeah. So would the car be under control by using the brake like that?
I'm not sure. Is that not costing if you've got the clutch down and you're just using the brake?
It is coasting if you were travelling along the road and, you know, obviously you've got the clutch fully depressed. But if you're, because at the speed we're going at, the engine wouldn't be able to actually keep ticking over
Right.
if we
Right.
brought the clutch up.
All right, okay.
Yeah. So we need the engine there, obviously for engine braking and things like that. But there is a point at which you can't quite get that clutch to come up and
Right.
stay up.
So it's all right to do it then? is it?
It's okay to do it at this point.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Out of roll, am I missing out there?
No.
No, that's fine. It just, that throws me, that it's all the questioning, it makes you
So
think.
what am I trying to say to you in roll, do you think?
Just trying to say, explain it better.
Yeah. I'm a bit confused.
Yeah,
now. Is
I
that
don't
not
get why.
costing?
Yeah,
No, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because we're only travelling slowly.
Yeah.
No, and that would have probably done.
Right,
No, it's
okay.
perfectly fine to do that on a slow controlled manoeuvre like this. When you're rolling downhill, you bring the clutch up, the car's going to move too fast. So just leave it down, let gravity do the work, and keep it really slow on the brake.
yeah, fair enough. That's fine, yeah.
Tell me about the observation. How have you been with that?
I think I've been okay, making sure that you're looking.
How much
where you need to
control? 100-0, where we at
go. I'd say
with the
at
observation?
least 98.
How does it feel?
Much better.
Mm.
So
Don't
you're not
feel
really away.
flustered, do you?
But I do feel like we're sat too long. I know obviously we've had a bit of a chat and what have you, but I do feel like we're sat too long.
Definitely not.
Right, okay.
The observation bit, you were on me, and I was doing my best not to do what you were telling me to do, but you didn't let me.
Yeah.
There was no escape for me.
Yeah.
I had to do it. No, that's the side window.
Yeah.
The back one, dummy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's about the only word I didn't use.
Now I threw you the bone
Yeah.
with the car. Oh, I saw that car coming.
Yeah.
So you could use that.
Yeah.
So look, now then, look at the side window. Can you see the car now? Oh no.
Mm.
All right. I mean, I bought it anyway, but these little things sometimes come up. So if you've got stuff like that around you, use
Use
it.
them, yeah.
But I just wanted to illustrate that for the video purposes.
Yeah,
So you say,
yeah.
look, see the car coming? Oh yeah. Would you see him in the side window? Oh God, no, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
To just further reinforce the point. Oh, right. So even though I've agreed with you, it's a terrible, terrible thing to do, to look through the side window and somebody might die. The next time I come to do it, stay
You're
there,
still
because
gonna
it's
look
a
there.
habit that's been formed. Your job's to break the habit.
Mhm.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Happy?
Yeah,
Any questions?
I think so.
Go. Over to you.
Okay, Bob, so bearing in mind what we've said, we'll start with our observations. So where do they start from?
Well, that's it.
Right, make sure you look through that window, that's right, all the way around. And where are we looking now?
Back window.
Okay. And we're keeping the foot on the brake. That's it, and just nice and steady. allowing the car to roll backwards and looking through that back window.
It's not too slow.
No, not at all.
Oh, right.
Do you feel like you're under control?
Because I'm going real slow.
Yeah? But you're going to get to where you need to be safely and in the right position. Okay, so we want to look for where the rear seats line up with the corner of the curb.
So is it okay to look through that window now?
You can start to look through that window now because you're starting to see the curb's moved away from your rear window.
So I can stop looking through the back
You
window.
need to keep glancing through the back window. Okay?
It's about
It's
there,
all
I
about
think.
observation. Okay, so we'll stop there. And now we need to do another observation. So handbrake on. Right. And we'll do a full observation around the car first, making sure that we're still safe.
It's going to be a
Alright.
bit.
So looking where we need to be. And now we want to be looking through that side window but having a glance to the back window periodically just to make sure that nothing's changing behind us. So and just following that curve. Can you see the curve?
Yeah.
Is it starting to disappear on you?
It is a bit, yeah.
Okay, so have you seen that car that's coming out of the junction there?
All right.
So we need to just hang on and wait for him to move.
I think you've gone round this, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, that was good. Did you see him there before I mentioned him?
I didn't know.
Right, okay, so that's why we need to be making sure that we're watching and taking in what we see.
Right.
So we need to do another check now, so
All right, again.
yeah, so we're going to start a few seconds, that's it,
Alright.
all the way around. And then following that curve, making sure that we've looked behind us as well. Yeah?
That's a lot to do, isn't it?
There is a lot to do, there's a lot to think about. That's it. Following that curve. Okay, so we need a bit more steering on.
All right.
Okay. Looking where we're going though. Okay, so what's that man doing?
I'm not sure.
Probably just giving us a bit of room, but the trouble is, you see, whilst we've been sat talking, he's pulled in and he's shortened our gap.
Oh,
So do you
sorry,
think
no.
we've still got enough room to finish this manoeuvre now?
Let's see.
No.
So go forward.
I think we'll go forward and we'll find somewhere else. Okay. So, outer row. Is there out wrong with doing that?
No, not at
No?
all. No,
Okay.
He's messed the job up,
Yeah.
hasn't he? That's fine. There might have been enough room to go in there, but it's... Tell me about that attempt.
The actual speed, the control, the observations were 100% better, but I wasn't quick enough picking up any steering in the position.
Perhaps you're being a bit harsh on yourself there. You got to it,
Yeah.
but you had time to do it, didn't you?
I did have time to do it, and I still, if that van hadn't been there, we'd have had time to get you back where you needed
Yes,
to be.
you would. You were on it straight away, so it's... Tell me how it feels in terms of control.
You don't feel like you're losing your time. You do feel like, but I think that's the thing. It's because you know it's a ticking clock. You're thinking of that 28 minutes from start. To that point, if you think about having to have started again,
Yeah.
even without the briefing in the middle from outer row,
Let's
outer row.
assume that you've run that as the test, and that's as far as you got. How do you think the examiner would view it?
They're probably going to look at it that as long as I've ticked all the boxes and I've got all my core comps there, it's not the end of the world that we didn't finish the manoeuvre. But in my mind, it would throw me completely off that I hadn't completed.
I think as long as
The
you're...
task.
And on some of the core comps, like for the observation one, you switched to prompting me, and I did it. So he's happy there, I think. Yeah, you're along the right path. The other stuff, you've spotted it, you're probably going to follow the same pattern. So your remedial's in place. So, and the analysis is there, and you're spotting the fault. The fact that you haven't finished the job, does that really matter? He's going to go back into his office, because they always go back in at the end of the test and reflect and think, what was wrong, how was it? He's going to look at that and think, yeah, you've got the right stuff in place to make sure that you're eliminating these safety critical faults. And as such, I'm happy to give you a 4 and let you loose on the world. Or I'm happy to give you a 5 because it was fairly good. I'm happy to give you a 6 because it was polished. But the question he's asking himself is, am I happy to share the roads with the people you're going to train?
Yeah.
That's why they use the pattern that they use. And it isn't. There's better ways of doing it in the real world. But if you're doing things, if you're assessing purely based on safety alone, then this is the best way to do it. In roll, you're demonstrating faults that, if left unchecked, would be potentially dangerous, and seeing if you're picking up on them and curing them. That way, the world's a safer place. It's not ideal from a training point of view, but from a safety point of view, it's perfect. So tell me about that then.
Much better, like
Good.
I say. I've just realised I still never actually covered the steering as
Doesn't
far
matter.
as
Doesn't matter.
a thing, but then I was gonna do it then, you know, and
Well, you're
build it
saying
in,
that,
but
but you stopped me and asked me, how was it? Or you're a bit wet, so we're going to need a bit more steering. So you have covered
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You haven't maybe gone into the dangers of it and such, but you have still covered it. You could get involved in it. Now we're going to need more steering. What's the problem with being this wide? And then of course the car came and went round us, so we're a little wide here. Have we caused him a problem? I suppose we have a little bit. So if we were tucked in, that wouldn't be an issue, would it? Oh no, it wouldn't, no. So what we'll need to do is keep it tucked in. So I'll talk you through it, don't worry. And you might get the chance of another attempt at it, and then you can put your core comps in place. But it's just vital that we're running along that core comps line. And although yes, we disagree that it's not the perfect way of training people, of real live learners, it is by far the best way of the examiner being able to assess,
but you're gonna be
are
safe.
you safe to be
Yeah.
let loose? Are you going to create drivers who are not going to cause issues for other people? So what do you want to do now?
Work on similar aspects, just
Okay.
making sure that I'm covering all points of the car comps. I think that is the thing for me, because the actual subject and how the process works for that
Right.
particular subject doesn't pose me much of an issue. I understand
Sure.
what I need to do
Okay.
and
Okay.
you know the topics as they are. It's just a matter of making sure that I'm hitting all the points as we go along.
Now, are there any other little notes you want to make for yourself before we turn that one over?
No, because I think I know what I'm needing to do, if you know what I mean. And it's all along a similar line.
Tell me about the similar line. What does that line look like?
That line, it all looks the same. It all
does it
looks
look
like
like
I'm not doing that. But yeah, so it's just a matter of just making sure that I get these.
The form
You
isn't
know.
the magic thing, it's the process that's
Yeah,
the magic
that's
thing.
it,
It's,
yeah.
however you lock that in your head, if you have it tattooed on the inside of your eyelids or on a clipboard or
Yeah.
stuck on the dashboard of your car, it doesn't really matter. As long as you follow the process and you give them the ingredients that they see that make safe drivers.
Yeah.
On the back of the form, you'll find a reflective log. Fill it in as and how you want, really. This is your way of, if you like, afterwards, over a cup of tea, when you sat at home, you know, with your feet up watching the telly. You're a mother, you haven't got time for that, have you?
No.
But when the little ones have gone to bed, and you sat and you work through it and think, all right, and it's this stuff. What did you achieve or discover? What did today's session bring you? What was there a little light bulb moment today, or was it just, you know, you're just refining things? This is what I've got out of it. This is what I still need on my next session. And you've got a method of marking yourself here,
Yeah.
out of 10 or A, B, C, D, whatever method you want to work with, and then your proposed plan for next time. You might add a separate sheet of paper. What would you like to be capable of, feel better about, feel more confident about? And the next one, of course, is the last one before you test. So it's a case of thinking, right, what do I really want from this? And we can break it down into 19 4-minute slots, whatever it happens to be, just to make sure that all those last minute doubts and niggles, the things that you want to do and the things you want to get better, that they're all ticked off.
Yeah.
And that you arrive there on the Monday thinking,
I've got
you're
this.
having this.
Yeah, yeah.
And here it is, bang.
I mean, as far as from when I've been out with Will in the past, the spotting the faults I found I'm much better at.
Okay.
I don't think I've missed one yet, which
Doing
I'm
well.
happy with. I've found that what Val had said to me about this triangular thing with how to actually look at the right time, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean, has definitely, hit the nail on the head for me.
I mean, the reality is you're looking for it. You know what you would do in that given circumstance. So just before you would do it, you're watching for them do it.
That's the thing. But for me, it wasn't so much that, because Val said to me, "You're not looking at me," and I said, "Well, I was." She said, "But you're not looking when I need you to be looking at
Yeah.
me," and I'd be looking then doing my checks. But she says that's the point when I'm going to throw a fault in. So
You're
it
not
was
watching, yeah.
timing that look, and knowing, I do have to look at the road. Obviously, I have to make sure that gap you're going to go for is safe, whatever it
Not as much
may
as you would
be.
have to with a learner
But
driver.
it's not as important
Yeah.
as looking at the examiner, and that was the thing for me. It was knowing the process, you know, and how to do it. Me why and me dangers, I don't, other than making sure that you're bought in, I don't struggle with that bit.
No. The reality is you don't struggle with any of it.
Yeah.
It's outputting it in a formula or in a format, if you like, that's going to make sure you follow every bit. And I think that the form can help with that, or this line can help with that, whether if you have that stuck on your dashboard or whatever, to make sure that you've ticked each of those boxes mentally or on a form. Because if there's one piece of that missing, it all goes adrift. And then you end up frustrated and it's like, oh, what? And it's this fixing and the full talk through that real tight control that you're doing. If you don't do that, it's Armageddon, and then another fault comes in, and then another.
I mean, like where I switched on to prompting for mirrors rather than doing the full talk, you know, and things like observations and what have you. Because I've done it in the right sort of way, and I have included that talk through in the first place, is it okay to do that jump? Or do I have to actually red flag it and say, right, we're now moving on to prompting?
You can try it and see what happens.
Right.
You tried it, and I went with it because I thought, that's okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
But me personally, I would probably say, how would you feel about me just prompting on that? But it doesn't matter either way. As long as you're moving along that line, and as long as he's doing the things you want, you know you're doing the right things.
Yeah.
If he's not behaving in a way that you want, you know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It's never him.
Yeah.
It's always you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little log to be having a look at if you want.
Yeah.
I'll just have a little reflect over a cup of tea and make some more notes, and that'll help you to see where you need to be or where you think there's any deficiencies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll add to that as you know. For me, the only thing I see is process.
Right.
If we get the process nailed and you apply the process the way that I know you can, you'll nail it.
The stupid thing is, I do know it. It's just, for some reason, it's like some mental block somewhere. I just don't seem to be able to get over that, you know, implementing the actual process in its entirety. I seem to just think, oh, yeah, well, I've done that bit now, so I'm okay now. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm like filling the boxes myself before I've actually done them.
Well, yeah. I can still remember 28 years since I sat my first test, and it was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, and it couldn't have gone any worse. And it was just, I was sat in the car thinking, I can't do this. And when I compare that to the test that I sat a little while later, which seemed easy, but it's because I was doing the right things.
Yeah.
And you know, I was terrified of this examiner because he was an ogre in my head. You know, he was shouting and screaming, he was arguing with me. And the reason he was doing that is because I wasn't applying my core comps.
Yeah.
So of course he's not going to behave the way I want him to behave.
Yeah.
I went back and applied the core comps to it, and he was putting in my hands. You think, that's interesting. And it was all. I remember when I became a trainer later on, I used to train my guys to say, with this guy, Arthur Story was called, great guy, very very knowledgeable, very intelligent. You've got to win the argument.
Yeah.
He will give you an argument about why he's doing it the way he's doing it, and if you can win that argument, that's it. That's your analysis bit. But you still had to get him to do it. But you had to win him over. If you didn't win him over, he was going to dance you all over the place and give you such an uncomfortable night. So what's the plan for this next bit?
I think just make sure that I'm doing the actual full process, because that's the thing. It is the process that I'm falling down on, so that's the thing that I need to really hone in on and think, right, regardless of what the fault is, make sure that I am ticking every single box every single time.
How can we do that? How can I help you there?
I think generally, because it's the process itself is the same principle across the board. It doesn't matter what subject we're doing. There isn't a particular subject that I struggle with more than any other, really. So I think as long as I can get into the mindset of applying that same process across every single thing, it doesn't matter what you decide to do as a lesson.
General faults then?
General faults, and just making sure that I'm fixing them. And even if it's faults during a particular manoeuvre or...
What's he doing?
I don't know. Parking up, apparently.
Across the mouth of a junction?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
so if we just, sorry, it's just like,
right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Poor learner driver coming the other way, go, what should I do?
Can I do that when I pass my test? No.
So, if we just did just a general drive, faults being committed, and fix them as you see them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phase 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Happy with that?
Then we'll say, my name's Dave. I'd like you to treat me as though I'm a full license holder. I've got a job interview coming up for this new job that I really want, and I'll be driving for part of the day in this new job, and I've got to do a driving assessment. I'm a bit worried about it, so I thought smart move would be to maybe have a driving instructor sit next to me, have a little look at me driving, see if there's outlets, because I've probably developed some bad habits over the years. I'm familiar with this kind of car, the same as my car at home. Over to you.
Okay. All right, Dave. Well, it's very nice to meet you.
You too.
So, is there anything in particular that you know yourself is an issue with your driving?
I don't think so.
Happy with?
I've probably got 1 or 2 bad habits and stuff. But no, not really. I think I'm alright.
So, just as a dry run, before we do set off anywhere, if I were to ask you to demonstrate your steering, how would you do that? How would you generally drive the car? Where are your hands located, for instance?
Well, probably here.
Yeah, okay, that's spot on. All right. The reason I ask is because, generally over the years you do tend to find that people develop bad habits where they've got their hands all over the bit. Yeah, exactly. So just making sure that basics are in place.
All right. Yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll go and have a drive out. Okay.
Okay.
I'll have a look at your driving initially. We won't drive very long. And then we'll have a pull over and we'll have a chat through whatever I pick up on.
Fair
That's
enough.
all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you'd like to prepare the car as you normally would do. Okay, so I know that wasn't very far at all.
No,
I did say
no.
we won't be going too far. So the first thing I've picked up on particular is your road position.
All right.
Alright. So obviously you're comfortable with the width of the car.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you haven't actually hit anything. Alright. But
That's a plus.
It's always a plus. And that's kind of the goal, isn't it? Not to cause any problems
Not to
for
hit
anybody.
things.
Exactly. How do you think that was as far as your road position?
I thought it was okay.
Okay. So when we were going past the parked cars, did you feel that you were in the right place at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Was I not?
no. From my point of view, you were way too close to those cars.
All right.
Alright. Do you know why I might think that? Any ideas?
Oh, you're a bit timid.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's not my it is my personal opinion,
Have
but
you been in an accident maybe?
no, it's nothing to do with that.
All right.
So the reason that I'm sort of hung up on this, you being too close, is simply because it's dangerous.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, so I'll go through some ideas, okay, and I'd
Alright.
like a bit of feedback off you, if you can give it me.
Yeah, I'll try.
So if we're travelling along through past a row of parked cars like that,
Mhm.
and there's somebody sat in the car waiting to get out,
Yeah.
and somebody opens the door,
Yeah. Well, you see that
What would
sometimes,
happen?
don't you? Well, avoid it.
what you can 100% guarantee you'll be able to avoid it. Somebody just opened the door in front of you.
Well, yeah, I'd like to swerve around a little bit, but yeah.
Right, so do you not think swerving around something might be dangerous?
Well, yeah, you should watch what you're doing, shouldn't you?
He should.
Yeah.
You think
You're
so?
supposed to look before you open the door.
You are, I totally agree. But is there anything that you could do to try and prevent that being a big issue?
No, I can't stop anybody up. If you're going to be an idiot, that's on him, isn't it?
Not really.
Hmm.
Alright, it's not just down to him.
I
All
can't
right.
do
Is
his
there anything
thinking
that
for him, can I?
you can't do his thinking for him? And if he is daft enough to open his door without looking, then yes, I totally agree. He is at fault on that one.
Right.
But is there anything that you can do as a driver that can prevent that fault from being a problem for you, or for
Oh.
being a problem for somebody else?
Not sure. You mean like what? Be further out?
Well, this is it. So if he's opened that door in front of you, okay, you've said if you were that close to that car, you'd have had to swerve around it.
Yeah.
All right. So if you swerve, but there's somebody coming the other way, what would happen then?
Yeah, I thought of that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I know
what
I'm
you're
trying
saying,
to sort of make you think of all these things, but
Right.
it is a very real situation. Is
Yeah, you do see it a lot.
You do.
You do.
All right. If, for instance, there was somebody stepping onto the road with some kiddies planning to cross behind your car, but they're anticipating that you're going to be out of the way.
Yeah.
Somebody flings the door open in front of you and you swerve. Where are you going to end up?
Yeah.
There's all these different people that can sort of be hindered by your actions.
So you say I've always just blamed the other person. So are you saying it's partly on me then?
Most definitely.
Right. I'd never thought of it like that.
So when you were taking your driving lessons, how many years ago was it?
A long time.
Long time ago. All right. So when you were doing that, how can you remember what your instructor told you as far as safe distance from parked cars?
To be honest, no.
Okay. So making sure it's safe, all right, have a look over your right shoulder before you open the door, all right? Just want you to open the door briefly just to get an idea of how far the door's width is, right? You shouldn't be any closer than that. So when that door's open, as you're a driver coming round this car,
Right.
you should be at the end of that door.
Oh, right. That's a long way,
Okay?
isn't it?
It's a long way. So where do you think you were in relation to that?
Was that closer than that?
Much closer. You were probably only just over the wing mirror
All right.
away. All right.
Okay.
So not only could you potentially hit somebody's wing mirror, you could then end up with, as we've said, all these other problems.
Oh, that's
All
not
right.
good, is it?
So do you think it's something that needs working on?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So what do you think we could do to rectify that?
Whatever you think.
All right. So as I've shown you with the door, all right, we'll have a drive on in a minute, all right, and I want you to try and picture that door's width between you and those parked cars,
Right.
all right, and then we'll just cover a few of the other points that can come into it that can also hinder that as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So let's
We'll go
park the
left
car.
at the end of the road.
All right, and we're going to go left at the end of the road. So what are you going to do about the bus?
Should I?
Just have a little look at, whilst we're waiting for him, just have a little look here. Do you think you're a bit close to this car now?
Oh, yeah, I am on it.
Do you think that's a door's width away from the car?
No.
No. So
Sorry, I was
use
watching
that
the
as an
bus, wasn't
idea.
I?
You are watching the bus, and in fairness, so was I. So,
Should I
just
wait
a
for
matter
the
of
bus to
thinking
go?
about
It's
it.
going to go, isn't it?
Well, the bus is indicating, so this is why it was ideal that you just hung back. Alright? It wasn't being very quick off the mark, but it was indicating for a while. So as we're coming around this car, I want you to put yourself where you think the door's width is away from it. Right, okay. So we want to be a little bit further out, but not much. You're not too far off the mark now. That's much better. Okay. So if you were on an empty road, how close do you drive to the curb? Right now.
About there.
Okay. So you're sticking to the centre of your lane.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
But you're not too close to the curb, are you? For fear of
No.
You don't want to end up hitting it, do you?
No.
All right.
No.
So it's a similar distance to where you are when you're passing parked cars. You want to allow enough room, so you're getting a bit close now.
Alright,
Yeah?
alright, yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything that you remember from your driving that you could maybe use to help you? You
It's a
remember
long time
reference
ago.
points and things like that?
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you judge this now before we cover any more. So do you think you're a bit close?
I thought it was okay, is that not?
No, not close. Not far enough away at all.
Well,
So
left at
again,
the end.
you're still too close. So we're left at the end of the road. Okay, now want you to use that, and then so we can do that here. So keep speed nice and slow. Obviously, we've got pedestrians in the road as well. So now, where does that bobble line up with that car over there? This is the grey one. Alright, but be mindful of that car there as well, because this is where it comes on to the other topic. Okay, so line up that bobble now. Far enough away?
Yeah.
Somebody were to open those doors, they're not going to pose you too much of a risk.
No, they're not, no.
Okay?
Right.
So now you've got to judge the two cars, one on either side.
Oh, right.
Alright?
Close to that one.
So I'd like you to pull in on the left just after this van, please. The reason I've broken it down is just because when you're trying to work out where that reference point is, it can be quite confusing. Alright? So this is where we come on to shaving cars, okay, which is basically what you were doing for no reason. Alright?
Right.
So you've got a safe distance at which you know you can fit your car through.
That bobble there, that's it. I like that, that's good. That.
Okay? So you can use that bobble. Now, how did you know where to park up?
I just sort of judged it.
You just judged it. So where does the dashboard line up with the curb now?
That's where that windscreen washer is.
Right, okay. So that is your safe range. Alright? So if you're going through a gap that's slightly smaller,
Yeah.
alright, like these, you've got a car on each side of the road here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah? So as we're going through that gap, we don't want to, by keeping our safe distance from the cars on the left, we don't want to then end up too close to the car on the right. Alright?
Alright, yeah.
So as well as just looking straight down the centre of your gap, okay, and that will sort of line you up, if you're unsure of it or if it's particularly tight, you can use those two reference points, and you know you can safely move within that range. Okay?
Right. Oh, okay.
So why is it important that we don't get too close to the cars on the right?
Well, that's what somebody made up in that car, though.
It's the same principle, okay? So if we haven't got enough room to give them equal space, you know, by staying within your reference point for the left, you've got to then divide up that space that's left, haven't you?
Right.
To make sure that you allow
So
as much of a
either
safety
side.
pocket as you can
Right.
for the situation around you.
So what do I do if it's like, I mean, that one's not so bad, but the one further back, it was really tight.
It was tight, yeah.
So what
So
happens
again, look straight through the centre of your gap, okay? And what do you think you should do with your speed?
then? Well, slow down a bit.
Most definitely. If you go hurtling through, you're going to end up in a situation that you cannot react to, you cannot get out of.
Right.
Alright?
See what
So,
you're saying.
tight spaces and cars are not a good combination.
Right.
Alright? So as long as your speed reflects the situation that you're driving in, I mean this is a 20 zone anyway.
Yeah.
You've got speed bumps, you've got lots and lots of people moving about, cars and everything else.
It's
But
busy to do, isn't it?
you want to get your speed rock bottom. Like the way you came through there, then that speed was as fast as you need to be.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay,
Any faster
at a
you're
roll.
going to struggle.
Tell me about
Because I were doing the assessment, I don't think it was too bad. Would
that. Tell
you
me
have
about your
pulled
core
in?
comps.
I think I did it.
Has my behaviour changed?
Yes.
Did I make it difficult for you?
Yes. That's what I was thinking. Did I? Yeah.
An examiner's not going to push it to that level. It's
Right,
just, you
okay.
made a great case to begin with. He's
Right,
going
okay.
to go with it.
All right,
It's
fair enough.
fine. I just wanted to press it and just see to
Test
put
me.
you under
Yeah.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah,
And you stayed calm and you stayed with a plan.
yeah.
And therefore, I'm not going to say it became easy, but it's easier than it would have been if you hadn't been
Yeah,
following this
yeah.
through. Because I'd have just danced you on a bit. And I said, well, that'll be his fault.
Mm.
Well, yeah, but he should watch what he's doing.
Mm.
Oh, when you were learning to drive, he told me I should watch what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. So you change tack
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
because it's not proving fruitful.
Mm.
So don't pursue it. Right, okay, different angle.
Yeah.
And I like the way you brought the right hand car in because, of course, I threw that in with that one
Yeah,
there by
yeah.
getting really quite
Yeah.
close to him.
Well, the thing was, because I'd said in the beginning, I'll go into the... Because when you're trying to deal with one fault, you know, you can end up delivering the other fault. You know, like almost like you're just gifting it to them, aren't you? And
Yeah.
it's like anything else. I thought, well, realistically, I need to deal with this one fault, cover that, but then highlight why it's an issue. And then it would just given to me there anyway, that why it's a problem.
So I thought, as we came in, I thought there's two ways I could have gone. I could have thrown in a lot of faults and just like, or I thought I'll put one bad one in and work you to death.
Yeah.
He had to put it under a little bit of pressure, knowing that, you know, if it did crumble,
Yeah.
we've still got time. But just to see how it worked. How did it feel when you were doing it?
As far as me on the move and doing stuff like that, because I know different angles and how to get out of stuff, you know, like obviously you didn't want to go down that tack that I'd gone with first.
I didn't know.
You decided you wanted to do something different but just be awkward.
Yes.
So so I thought, right, okay then, and I can switch between. I don't, even though it's irritating to me, I don't find it that bad because I know how to get myself out of that.
Fine. Compare that to the manoeuvre then. Tell me about that.
I much prefer this because it's the pressure I can cope with, if you see what I mean, because I can talk myself out of this.
It's interesting. So, this is me just thinking out loud here.
Process it.
How can you give yourself the opportunity to talk yourself out of the manoeuvre one then?
I don't know, because on the one hand, I've sort of, as I've been doing my other 40 hours, I've been looking at it that is sort of said, oh, you know, less talking, you need to be on point, where I find I can explain away a lot of the problem, if you know what I mean, in my own mind, but it's I run out of time, you see, which is why I've had to try and condense it and keep it,
Sure.
you know, very minimalistic.
I mean, the key thing, I suppose, really is that if you're allowing the manoeuvre to continue while the faults are happening, you're running out of time.
Yeah.
Here, you're not going to run out of time.
That's it.
And when the fault has happened, you pull me over. And you've got the luxury of the time here.
Yeah.
I think we sometimes feel that we can't sit mid-manoeuvre talking about stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. That's the thing I'm thinking, well, we're in the middle of the road, we're stuck out, you know, at an awkward angle, you're this, you're that. And I'm mindful that I'm thinking, well, all this stuff's changing, there's people around that you're then an obstruction to as well. So in my own mind, I'm thinking you don't want to do that with a manoeuvre.
So if that happened, if you had, I don't know, 4 or 5 faults that you've just identified and you need to work on, and you're midway through the manoeuvre, what could you do? What's your options?
I suppose my first option, if it's clocked up 4 or 5 in that 2 metre stretch, just pull them to the beginning and start again.
Yeah. But do all your, up to this fixed bit, do all that while you're sat still. You've bought yourself a ton of time.
Yeah.
To do the stuff that you're very good at. What we're not very good at, none of us, is doing the stuff you've just done on this fault.
Yeah.
In a 20-second slot.
That's it. Yeah.
So create more time.
Yeah.
Either talk about it while you're sat in the middle of the road, or pull them back around the corner. If you're marking yourself marks out of 10 for that fault there, how many would you give yourself? Where 10 was the top mark?
8, maybe.
Okay. What would a 10 look like?
Well, I didn't let you get away with it at all, I suppose. In the fact that when we discussed it on the corner before that black car, I didn't pick up on that because I was busy looking at the bus.
Tell me about that. Tell me about the conversation we had there. About when you said to me, no, you're too close, and I was looking at the bus.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I did actually pick up then on the black car and say, right, have a look at this whilst we're waiting for this.
I'll tell you what I really liked about that. You went, you were looking at the bus, and to be fair, so was that.
Yeah.
That's why I did. Great.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hold your hands up. You go, yep, on me. But then you were straight on it as soon as we got around the corner. What's wrong with that?
Well, no, I suppose, but in my own mind, I'm thinking that's bad. That's not.
It's not an admission of failure or defeat. It's just like that's what happened. Yes, of course I was looking. I wasn't looking at the bus. I used that as an excuse to get close to the car. But you just said, yep, you were looking at the bus. And to be fair, so was I. So I haven't picked up on that maybe the way I could. But never mind. We'll get around the corner. We'll sort that out. And you did. You've got a plan. You're executing the plan. It's systematic. It's methodical. You're leading to where we need to be. You're not letting me away with anything.
Yeah.
You're on it immediately. You're not letting me run past the load of parked cars whilst you're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
You let it go the first couple and then like, oh, that's enough, pull in here.
Yeah.
If you were running it again and you were searching for the 10, what would you do different?
I suppose from that stretch there, I could have just bobbed you straight in here rather than driving you round the corner.
Maybe.
But having said that, I think having the row of cars rather than the broken stretch makes it more prominent in your mind as well. It's easier for you to picture that run and where you were positioned.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
To be fair, there isn't that much that I think I'd just tweak it, if you know what, and like just...
Tell me about the tweak.
Oh, I don't know. Just get it, I suppose, better and quicker as far as more to the point. Even though I've covered all the points.
Well, how
Maybe
far did we travel
condense it.
before we stopped?
What, on this stretch?
Yeah, from us starting off to pulling over and talking about it, how far had we gone?
I don't know.
How many minutes had elapsed?
I bet 4, maybe? 3
Probably
or
not
4?
even that. You'll be able to tell in the video.
Yeah.
We haven't got a long way.
No.
You've not let it be habit forming during that
No,
time.
no.
Could you have prevented it, do you think? Well, as we left from the...
Not from. Well, I suppose I could have asked the question, but having said that, why would I? If you know what I mean. It's got. You can't preempt everything, so
No, of
it's got
course
to
you
be a
can't.
case of have a look and see. So that's why I quite like doing that bit, if you see what I mean, because it's a matter of right, okay, I've just got to spot what you're going to do, and then working out the best plan to deal with it. So other than you're too close to that parked car, move out straight away. I don't think there is much else that I could have maybe done initially.
It's an approach we used to use a lot a few years ago. Well, a few years in the 90s. Where we'd try and stop the faults happening by appearing with some parked cars here. What sort of gap are you going to leave? And it was all about Q&A, but would that affect the outcome of the test, do you think,
No,
in
because
terms of that fault?
realistically, you're still going to end up having to go through your core comps to fix the fault.
So how would you think your core comps would be marked on that? What
Oh, I
grade do you
don't
think
know.
you would get for those?
I don't know what grade I'd get for them.
How about your fault spotting?
Fault spotting, I think, because I spotted it and dealt with it, highlighted it and obviously went through dangers and stuff straight
Is that
away.
a 4, a 5 or a 6?
I'd probably say a 6 because I didn't miss it.
Tell me about your analysis.
Yeah, I don't think that was bad because I got you to buy into what I was saying, and I came round to your way of thinking as far as my initial angle didn't work.
Now, I made it very difficult for you at that point.
Yeah.
I was resistant. So is that a 4, a 5 or a 6?
Probably say a 6 if I've managed to convince you when you were being
Okay.
awkward.
Yeah, and I was. And then tell me about your remedial, your plan, and then the follow-on action from it.
The plan, I think, was probably along the same line.
Okay.
The actual fix itself, going on to the full talk through, because I missed that black car initially because I was looking at the bus.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cars we've gone past.
Right.
We got close to 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the fix.
Alright, yeah, one doesn't seem that bad. But, yeah, so the fact that I then showed you the gap because it had lent itself at that situation, and then came round the corner, I then made sure you were in the right place, which was a talk through. And then I did, again, not highlight it, but I went on to the prompting.
And has my behaviour changed?
I think so, yeah.
So is that a 4, a 5 or a 6?
I don't know, I'm still going to say 5, I think.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Maybe a bit cheeky to give myself a 6, but yeah, no.
There's always something about the human condition. We don't want to big ourselves
Yeah.
up too much. So if you ever think about that, when the core comps are applied in its purest form, the way you've done there, and you get it to work, why aren't there 6s? You're doing what they want you to do.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it becomes very human when the one car that we did get close, we had a little discussion about it, and it's just, human enough to say, like, yep, in fairness, I was looking at the bus too. Because I was going to sit there thinking, all right, then, you're not going to try and bull your way out of this.
Yeah.
Good on you. So I'm tempted here to ask you to do the 1 to 10 again, but that's just then me making a point that I thought it was better than an 8. And that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that feedback from my point of view, if I'm saying an 8, because I know there's little bits that I wasn't 100% happy with.
You'll see it a different way when you've watched the video.
Yeah.
You'll pick up different things, little bits and pieces that come. I found it most instructive the first lessons we were doing with the camera pointing in at the car. I learned more about me than I learned about the learner.
Oh, right,
I
okay.
did not did that. And there's times you look and think, I come across a bit patronising there.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, I don't like the way that I do that. Ooh, gosh, she's saying something. I look like I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Even though I was, I look like I'm displeased with what she's had to say.
Yeah.
So it's all those little bits and pieces. So, in light of the stuff we've done, I mean, what I want to try and think about at this point is as a provisional plan for next time. Where is it you think that we might go, or we might do?
I suppose just try and make sure that we've gone through everything, you know, and like what we've done there, where I've been in a position where I could actually work through the whole process and get from A to Z without much of a hiccup, if you see what I mean.
Well, it's interesting you did it without the form, but you followed the same format through.
Yeah,
so
I did write it down there, a little bit.
But it isn't the form, it's the process,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
So the form can help when you're under pressure. Yeah.
I think just having it there as a reference for me is better, because I don't want to be taking my eyes off what you're doing, see, which is why I don't want to be.
The nice thing here is that if you do get lost, you can, when you pull up, you can have a little look down. I'm not suggesting that, oh no, you should use the form. Have it there
it's whatever works, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd be kicking myself there for doing it. And then I go and do something silly and miss it. But yeah, I think because I'm more confident in myself just doing the on the move stuff now. I know I'm getting that right.
I think it's a case of, if you can reflect on how you can get what you're doing here into the tougher ones to do it on, like the turn the road and the reverse to the left or right.
Well, that's it. I think I'll get more out of maybe next time just focusing on polishing off the manoeuvres.
Okay.
You know, not so much just the manoeuvres, but the actual slow, you know, sort of short ones, if you know what I mean, because it is in that tiny little space, isn't it?
Well, you get a lot of faults in a very short space of time. You've got the added pressure of thinking, oh, I've got to get around the corner, I've got to get this turn on the road done, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Instead of micromanaging the faults that you see and jumping straight on it. But at each of those, and this is a question for you, did you know straight away what the problem was?
Yeah, literally, as you went round that first car, I knew what the problem was, because I wrote that down. The manoeuvre, because I'd driven it, I'd already said over clutch control, said over everything, apart from steering. I had seen it, but I didn't mention it.
We quite often say, you just trust your gut feeling.
Yeah.
And you're right. Yeah. Much more of the time than you're not.
It were all there. It's just that I'm thinking, oh yeah, no, it's not too bad. It's not, you know, you're not flying round the corner at 20 miles an hour. It's there.
I think we should look for perfection.
Yeah.
And if it's not perfect, think about trying to fix it. That can lead to some issues where you're trying to fix things that aren't a problem because the examiner is just driving in that role and the driving's a bit lumpy, because that's how a learner at that stage would be. But if it's not exactly the way you want it, particularly if it's on PST, control observation accuracy, just nail it immediately. If you're barking up the wrong tree, the examiner will find a way to let you know. There's some good stuff in there, you know. Some good stuff today.
Good.
What we're looking at is making sure that you're bringing the good stuff to the first attempt. And just thinking to yourself all the time, what do I need to do here? What do I need to do to sort this out? Because it is always you.
Yeah.
Always you.
Yeah.
Any questions on any of that? That's all.
No, I don't think so. I'd say, I mean,
it's process for you,
daft
isn't
as it is, it's process. That's all it is. It's just making sure that I do A to Z and remembering to hit all the other points in between it. You know, because I do have a tendency to think, right, I've done A, B, C, D. I can go straight to Z now.
That's very common.
Yeah.
Very common. And it's because of the way that we interact as human beings normally. This is designed to test the safety aspects of it, so it's not a test of your normal human interaction, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Pop the camera, cup of tea, and a debrief.